Everybody, thanks for joining us today. Senior Solution Engineers from Atlassian joining us today for a fireside chat on FedRAMP. My name is Cameron Starman. I'm a Senior Director of Client Management for Clovity. So really excited to be talking to these two gentlemen. So we've got Regina Rivera and we've got Cody Stevens. So I've got some questions for them today. Obviously, FedRAMP just rolled out recently in terms of the Atlassian suite. So there's a lot of questions around there. There's a lot of kind of noise in terms of how the government is going to start moving to the cloud. And obviously there's some folks out there, but this from a compliance standpoint is kind of a whole new space for Atlassian. So really excited. So we've got a few questions. Guys, anything you guys want to say before we get started?
Just super excited to be here. Big fans of Clovity and some of the great work that you and your team are doing. So very excited to talk about FedRAMP and the Atlassian Government Cloud.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys. We're learning from you every day. So awesome. So to kind of kick us off, I wanted to see, why government agencies, why should they consider FedRAMP right now? What's the pull? What's drawing that in?
Sure. Well, if Cody's good, I'll start more on the kind of my experience. So in terms of government and then of course the associated government contractors, it's really about data protection, right? When we talk about nation state adversaries and maintaining, data sensitivity within cloud and software as a service, it's important to have, the level of security and compliance needed for a lot of these missions to be successful. So comes in, legislative as well as other compliance requirements around how certain agency data is protected, DoD data is protected, and so forth and so on. And so FedRAMP is really where that comes in the ability to attest to that we are compliant with this particular compliance vehicle being FedRAMP. And so government agencies know that they can go ahead and safely move their information into our Atlassian Government Cloud and be able to process the data accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, it also opens up cloud just in general though, right? I've been an admin, I was an admin for years, and managing a data center infrastructure can be complicated. It takes time, you have to do upgrades, a lot of different things. Those are not things that you have to deal with on the cloud. So it opens up that road for them to move to our cloud where they don't have to manage all that and they can just focus on their mission.
Definitely. And I think, one, and as a company, as Atlassian, right, then really more focused on one product, right, on the cloud suite really just allows that expansion of that tool set, right, the functionality. Obviously, DC was great. It's had its uses, and will continue for a little while to have its uses, but there is just something very special about being able to focus on kind of that product suite, right?
Yeah, and let me just add to that. Data center's not going anywhere, right? Like we have no intention of getting rid of data center or moving away from that. There's still a lot of use cases in that, and government and financial space, healthcare space, right? There's still a lot of use cases and situations where maybe somebody can't move to the cloud. But having having FedRAMP inside of our cloud now just opens up a lot more doors and is that path to getting customers off the data center as soon as possible.
Yeah, agreed. Awesome. Anything else on that topic, guys, or you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, just a quick one. I mean, we keep talking about data center and maintaining, your own infrastructure.
Right.
I think part of the question in regards to, government agencies and why move to cloud is really the benefits of cloud scale, right? So compute, storage, the elasticity, right, of being able to kind of onboard users and still be able to provide those types of services compared to Cody's point, having to manage all that infrastructure, patching,
and just the sheer cost in some cases, right? I can't name names here, but I mean, we have, I have a customer, they're paying close to $1 million in just storage costs.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have that problem on our cloud, right? You get unlimited storage.
Right.
So it just simplifies the overall process.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of technical debt out there, and I think that will help combat that, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of antiquated systems, and I think making the government more collaborative through these rollouts, I think is
Yeah.
gonna continue, because I mean, with cloud, I think you just kind of naturally have that ability to roll it out to more places and kind of keep that growing. So.
Yeah, it's a great chance for customers to look at it as a transformation as well, right? Being able to say, what are we doing really well inside of data center, and what are we not doing well at, and let's fix that, right? That's not just take what we have and put it inside a cloud. That generally doesn't work, right? Let's focus on how we're doing things, improve that, and then rebuild something in cloud that's even better than what we're doing today.
I love that holistic approach in terms of like, let's project management for all, service management for all, right? How, knowledge management for all. I think the knowledge management that's out there, but the service component and the proper project management tools are just so key, because you have a lot of things out there where it's just antiquated systems, or it's all done on email or all done in Excel spreadsheets, and things can just fall through the cracks, right?
For sure. 100%.
I know we're still on question 1, but I'm gonna add just a quick one, because you had mentioned collaboration, right? And I think at least what I'm seeing within kind of our public sector vertical is today with the data center installations, is very difficult for government organizations to collaborate, say in Jira or in Confluence, right? So VPN, external access, you name it, that adds a lot of kind of organizational drag, and just being able to like, hey, I want to work with this team in Jira.
Right.
Moving to the cloud now opens that aperture in regards to being able to seamlessly bring on, agency X, agency Y, different branches of the DoD can now, collaborate like they haven't been able to do so outside of, maybe SIPR or NIPRNet,
I mean, to go off on a tangent, was that intentional though? Like, I think obviously there's a point now where I think that collaboration is so important, right? And that ability to work with teams. Obviously, they were kind of set up this way, and maybe that was just kind of the limitations of the past, right? I think, you two as kind of experts in the space, while it might take a while, do you guys feel like there might be some more ability to de-silo? Obviously, you're going to have secret information. You're going to have stuff that can't be accessed by everybody. But if you have teams with same levels of clearance, I think they should be communicating, right, or have that ability. So, do you see that kind of changing? Do you feel like that's going to loosen up with these new offerings?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know, Code, I'll let you jump in, but yeah, for sure. I mean, the whole when you talk about projects in general, right, and you talk about the ability to not only bring in the prime or the subs, contractors, even customers, you now have this just a more streamlined way of doing it in cloud versus having to open up your firewalls and getting access to, other key stakeholders, RSA tokens, other, key fobs, what I'm saying? All of that to just be able to get them access to a particular system. Now, as long as, again, to your point about the clearance levels, if they have a need to know and they have the right level, it's a lot easier within our Atlassian Government Cloud to be able to have that collaboration among outside groups.
For sure.
Especially on the reporting side as well, right? With Atlassian Analytics bringing that into our agency environment. Yeah. Even if you want to have teams maintain separate environments or in what we call separate sites, right? They're still under the same organization. You can still bring that data and report on that data across all of them. So it really drops some of those barriers that you would face when you have multiple data center instances and teams that are separated out.
Yeah. The Atlassian Analytics thing is very important too, because I think having that high level ability to see, where are your choke points, where are your issues, right? And what teams are doing good, right? And how do you model off of those teams, right? It doesn't only have to be what are the negative things we're noticing,
100%.
like where are those positives, right? And how do you start to kind of multiply that out? Because I think it's hard when everybody's kind of off doing their own thing. You can't really take those best practices so readily, right? And start to bring that up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think kind of my next one. So what excites you, about FedRAMP, AGC, or Atlassian Government Cloud? Just so if you hear us use that, that's what we're referring to. But from a government solutioning perspective, like I think we kind of touched on that a little bit on that last one, just in terms of collaboration. But I guess just kind of specifically going that direction.
You want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, honestly, it's about the future of where the platform's going to go, right? If you look at our commercial cloud, we have too many products to name, honestly, right? We have a lot of different products in there. Right now, even on data center, right, it's just mainly you have Jira, Confluence, and Jira Service Management. That's what we're bringing inside of AGC at first, but we're already talking about Atlassian Analytics. Eventually, we'll have those other products as well, and all the additional features that are coming in here. So our end goal, where we're heading for AGC, is going to be very special, I guess, right, to put it that way, because you're going to be able to do a lot more than what you're able to do right now.
Sure.
With, again, dropping some of those silos. That's what makes me excited, just getting some of those other products in there.
Yeah, just a piggyback. I think where Cody's headed is like we're investing a lot in innovation, right, as it relates to our commercial cloud and now what we can start bringing over to our government cloud, right? So again, functionality, feature capabilities, it matters, but at the end of the day, just being able to drive some of the new user experience, right? The updates we've made from a user interface standpoint, just that evolution from data center to commercial cloud, and now being able to bring that into a government cloud excites me, because I want all our users to kind of see, hey, this is what you're investing in. Here's the greatness around Jira and Confluence, Jira Service Management, and beyond. When you're living in data center day in and day out, you're kind of not as excited, because you're like, I've seen this for the last 5-10 years, you know what I'm saying? And I have FOMO because I see all this cloud stuff. I'm like, I want to be there. So that's what excites me in regards to now we can kind of start introducing some of this, innovation and investment into cloud, to some of these users who just haven't experienced it.
Yeah. I mean, to even jump on that too, right? Our customers that are coming in right now, you're at the very beginning of where AGC is at, right? You get a chance to help form what that's going to look like as well, right? And really partner with us. And so that's also really exciting.
Atlassian does take good feedback. So.
Yeah,
they are listening.
Absolutely.
And I think, I kind of I'm excited about the process transformation ability, right? Where it's like, yes, like the automation, but, as a solution partner, looking at how do we change the way that these different groups work? How do they kind of, again, like we kind of touched on that earlier, like in taking service requests and how are they kind of managing that as a team, and how do they understand what the workload is happening, right? It's if you have just something that's going to a general inbox and then whoever picks it up, like that's just not a good way of knowing like how it's being triaged. How long has it been sitting there, right? Does this need to be worked on now? Does this need to be worked on later? So I think, while I love the innovation piece, I think just rethinking and retooling just some of the processes or putting that in and the ability for also that self-help ability, right? With Confluence and JSM, right? How do you start to create this more ubiquitous self-service where somebody can find out that information on their own, and then hopefully only the bigger stuff is now kind of coming down the pipeline, and everybody gets to focus on kind of more the real core of their job versus just answering questions or whatever like that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Nice. Anything else on that area, guys?
No.
Cool. And then, so I think, obviously we were just talking, FedRAMP is kind of on the newer side. Are there currently any nuances of FedRAMP AGC that clients should be aware of as they go to move, or as they start to roadmap this, let's say?
Yeah. That's a good one. I don't know. I'll kick it off. And
go ahead.
Even though honestly, you should kick it off because you had the first one.
I am in day in, day out right now.
You go, Cody, because you started.
Apps are our biggest thing. That's the biggest concern. We're working with a lot of our app vendors to bring their app into the environment, and it just takes a little bit of lift, right? You have to update the app to work with the AGC endpoints. You may have to redevelop part of it to be on what we call our Forge platform, so it's being hosted by Atlassian. So there's a little bit of work there. That is the honestly the biggest thing that we're working through. Right now we have, I want to say 25 apps available, and we're working with another about 90 of the biggest ones to bring them in. So we're tracking toward that. It's going to be, we aim to have a lot of that ready for hopefully by our full release in September.
Nice.
But that's the biggest consideration really is just apps. And then the other piece that we run into as well is just how users access the system. That's the biggest change, because generally, right, in the government, right, you're being required to go through SSO, which is normal, but there is no username and sign-in for AGC. You only have SSO, and so that initial configuration, a little bit more white glove than what our customers may be used to. Generally, right, they just install the system, load it up, they do it all themselves. We actually have to help go through that, right? We have to get some SSO information from you, set that up. Those are really the biggest considerations.
Yeah, I think once you get that lift, like it's much nicer just to kind of log right in.
Yeah. Well, then it works across the whole domain too, right? So then anybody that is granted access can just be fed right in, and you're in.
Right.
Yeah, I would add to that. I think it's more from a culture and behavior standpoint, right? So we have such a cottage industry built on knowing data center and how to really manipulate and change and do all these access to the database, right? And so when you go cloud, period, not just our cloud, but any cloud, there's a big shift in like some of that local management that you used to do is now kind of obfuscated because you no longer have that level of access to infrastructure like you did on your own prem. So there's a little bit of kind of that learning curve as to, okay, now I need to learn how to interact with APIs if I want to be able to pull certain information out and so forth. So to me, I think apps definitely a big one. Identity and access management is another one, especially if you're used to like LDAP or if you're leveraging Crowd on-prem and whatnot. Now you're using Atlassian Guard. So there's some differences with just going to cloud, and then on top of that, making sure that you have what you need to support your users and their business requirements as you move them into AGC. So a little bit of a change, especially for the admins all the way to some of the users.
Got it. And I mean, that's just something I think as it rolls out, you guys will kind of be pretty hands-on just in terms. Now, how did you guys pick? Obviously, you're probably looking at download numbers, stuff like that. Like, how did you guys kind of triage, like just in terms of like what apps were you bringing over? Was it more I'm assuming the companies themselves that were putting these out also had to have the appetite to do that. But how did you guys kind of, I guess, approach that process?
It was a mix of things. We had, app vendors that reached out to us and said, hey, we really want to be in the environment. It's like, cool, let's get you in there, right? How do we make it happen? Others, we had customers that were saying, look, we want to be on AGC in day one, right? And this is our app list. This is what we need from you. And so we said, okay. And we went to those app vendors and said, this is what we need from you to bring this customer in. And that's what we've been doing. Nice. And then, like you said too, right? Some of the bigger ones, you think like a script runner or something like that, right? A lot of our customers are using it. We obviously know that they need it, so we're working on bringing stuff like that.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, it's definitely a lot of nuance when you're trying to kind of lift and shift everybody over to this newer space. Is it just from a compliance perspective? I assume there's definitely some challenges that kind of come up with those app vendors, or I mean just the main platforms itself, right? Like when you brought up APIs just a minute ago, like how those are interacting, how those are sharing data, right? You've built this compliant system, right? But then what about the connectors? What about the bolt-ons, right? So it's definitely something you have to look at every single piece and make sure that it's still 100%. Kind of truing up to kind of the main compliance goal. Yeah,
I mean, part of our jobs is working with the customer and their respective security teams and others as it relates to, if you say you need an app and it's not there yet, are you okay with it being compatible? There may be a level of risk assessment and acceptance that needs to happen. But that's what we're doing is some of the pre-qualifications to kind of go into AGC. And so far my experience has been with the several customers I've worked with is like, that's no different than what we do with everyone else. So like they're on board with, let's do the risk assessment, see, is the app processing data, is it storing data, you know what I'm saying? And just kind of get into some of those details and then they end up making a determination. So
is that kind of where like the Forge comes in, just in terms of like everything needs to stay on kind of like
ideally,
the
right?
Ecosystem.
It
can't be checking with the third party about what's
so
happening.
you can still reach out externally with Forge, and so there's going to be different classification levels within Forge. The main difference is it's reaching out to go, reach out to a third party system or do something over there,
Right.
but we're still hosting that app data, right? So it's hosted on our infrastructure still.
Got it.
But there'll be different classification levels where it's a Forge app that does reach out to third parties. There's a Forge app that doesn't reach out to third parties. That's going to be an easier security review.
I see.
App vendors that have gone through the process of actually getting FedRAMP compliant, that's a whole other security level, right? Maybe you don't need to do a security review at that point. It's FedRAMP compliant. You're good.
Got it. Then you just add it.
Yeah, then you
That
just
makes
add
sense.
it. Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And the thing too is, what we want to do is we want to look at these apps and say, okay, what are we doing in cloud, right? Because cloud is different, right? It's a different product than data center. Maybe you were using an app that isn't available in cloud, but that's because there's a product gap there, a feature gap, right? We may have filled that gap inside of cloud, and so we need to look at that and say, okay, well, maybe we can help you do something natively as well.
For sure. Nice. Cool, guys. Anything else on that topic?
I think that's good.
Sounds good. Cool. And then I think probably my favorite one. Now, what does the future of FedRAMP, Atlassian Government Cloud, what does that look like? As people are deciding whether to make this move, it's obviously, these large organizations, it takes a lot of effort, takes some money.
Yep.
The value's there, but you still get the ball rolling, you still got to get there. What does the future look like? Why, what's really going to reel them in?
I mean, our North Star is feature parity between commercial and agency, right? That's the end goal. And also, I would say it doesn't end with moderate, right? We're not just stopping there. We're going to keep going. We'll get FedRAMP High. We'll get IL5. We'll keep going on those certifications that we need to enable even more customers to come over to our government cloud platform.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we. I think you mentioned earlier we're definitely listening to our customers and hearing, and even at Team 25 this year in Anaheim, right? We announced Atlassian Government Cloud. We also announced Atlassian Isolated Cloud.
Right.
Under NDA, we're talking about other cloud types of offerings, to really kind of meet the customer and where they are leveraging our products today in data center for those IL5, IL6 plus secret regions and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So our products are positioned, to really support a lot of missions, not just U.S. missions, but globally, right? When we think about the various ministries of defense and so forth. So I'm excited and thinking about these are the stepping stones. So this AGC, FedRAMP Moderate, is, to Cody's point, not the end all be all, but really that kind of stepping stone and platform to kind of see where else we can meet our customers, to support their mission.
Sure. Yeah, and I was thinking about the isolated cloud announcement more on the commercial space, but I think you're right. I mean, and all of these will converge as well, right? Or start to converge, at least the practices and kind of that understanding. When that comes is obviously TBD, but I think there's definitely some cool kind of areas that will continue to open up, right, as we look at it.
Yep, absolutely.
Had a question.
The follow-up has come and gone.
Yeah, the follow-up. Your response was so good. I think from an outside perspective, right? AI is kind of everywhere.
We haven't
Obviously
even brought AI up.
I know. We can't have this whole conversation. Obviously, that takes a little while to kind of get there. But I think what you hear every day is that the government is looking to utilize that technology, right? And I think it's important. I know I use it all the time. It helps me do my job every day, and it's not taking my job anytime soon, but it really, it really does help, accelerate a lot of things. And I think, especially from a government perspective, that's what we need, right? You're taking care of a lot of people, and the best way to kind of do that is to be able to do that kind of just get you a couple steps ahead of where you are, right? Not complete the process, just kind of get you there. I mean, how are you guys looking at it? I know obviously you were talking about feature parity, which would be Atlassian Intelligence, kind of on that release. Are you guys finding any issues with that right now, or is it kind of seems to be on track?
We're working on it.
Okay.
What I'll say is you have to separate AI in two different buckets, right? You have Atlassian intelligence, which think of that as when you're in Confluence, right, and a word is highlighted and it tells you what it is. That's Atlassian intelligence, right? When it's suggesting a ticket that is a related item, that's Atlassian intelligence. Then you have Rovo, which is a whole separate piece on top of it, right? So these things will come in waves. You're not going to get just all of AI in one go.
Sure.
But we're working toward it. It's for sure something that we know we want ourselves in AGC, right? We're in our own environment. We want it. We know our customers want it. So it's definitely something that we're working toward.
Yeah, makes sense. No, it's definitely something you want to take very tactfully forward, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think, my last kind of one that I had there was, any parting insights from, two subject matter experts, just to throw out, things that they should consider on the roadmap, what type of, help are they going to need, right? That kind of stuff. What are some recommendations you guys have?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I'm having these conversations today with customers in regards to helping them truly understand their workloads and their data protection needs. Because our commercial cloud is heavily certified. When you talk about HIPAA, GDPR, we have our SOC 2, SOC 3, compliant with numerous, ISO standards. So a lot of times, some of the customers that we work with, they're either supporting an agency or, some government, we didn't really touch upon like state and local, but we're finding more times than not, they don't necessarily need AGC or Atlassian Government Cloud, or maybe there's a part of, what they're doing that should be there, but the rest can go commercial. So overall, we try to really support and be as open and transparent with our customers as it relates to where we think they can do their best work, and then not automatically just think because it says government in it and government cloud that they have to move everything there. Yeah. So we're definitely working, on the solutions engineering side, we're definitely, supporting solutions like hybrid types of environments where they may maintain some of their data on-prem and via app links, still able to communicate and leverage, the cloud compute, cloud scale and AGC, and then, or even just move some projects over versus, in totality. So again, we're really trying to support what's right for the customer. We're not just trying to sell them, hey, here's a new cloud, but all in all, I think it's important, that, you as a partner, us as Atlassian, we continue to work with our customers to kind of do that and make sure that they're getting the best experience possible.
Most definitely.
Yeah. The only thing I'll add to that, and I said it earlier, is really take this time to look at this as a transformation, right? This is not let's just throw our data over into a new environment and call it a day, right? This is a chance to, again, look at what you're doing really well at, what you're not doing well at, and how can we take our overall process and improve this and make this better for our users or constituents, whatever it may be. How do we support our projects better, our missions better? And so this is that opportunity, and this is where we take that time to do it.
Definitely. I love, you brought up SLED, and we hadn't touched on that. And sorry, state, local education. Just in case you're not following the acronym. But from a SLED perspective, right? You have TextRamp, you've got CoveRamp. I'm assuming there's maybe another one. I don't know all of them. State ramp.
Any state ramp.
Yeah. Any state ramp. I think what we're seeing as partner, there's some nuances out there, because we're seeing some individuals that are on commercial cloud that are now asking to go FedRAMP, right? Yep. Obviously, I think what we discussed most is kind of data center to that.
Yep.
What are you guys seeing out there? I guess, just figured we'd maybe touch on it.
We're seeing a few who are like, hey,
Yep.
we were in commercial, we won a new bid, and the CEO or the contracting officer now is requiring, protected CUI or something like that. So now they're like, okay, motivated to move from commercial into AGC. So yeah, there's definitely a few of those kind of edge cases where they haven't been traditionally on data center and going to AGC as their first foray into cloud. We definitely have a few that have been in commercial cloud, really loving it, and have been looking forward to now going into AGC.
Well, to Arjuna's earlier point too, right? It doesn't have to be your entire instance in that case. Sometimes it's just hey, like you said, we won this bid, we have to do this project. This data is different classification level. We're going to put it over here into AGC. We're going to keep the rest on commercial.
Right. Really critical to ask the right questions. Instead of being like, oh, it all has to go. You're like,
Yeah.
oh no, only this piece. You're oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad we clarified.
Yeah, and there's going to be, data center to AGC, you're going to gain a lot, right? There's going to be big differences there, but there's going to be a lot of differences between commercial cloud and AGC, right? There's a lot more consideration that you have to make there because you have some of those additional features that you aren't missing from data center, but in AGC, you're not going to have some of that.
Right, but you're also going to get the enterprise level of those licenses now.
You
so
will.
That you will.
Yeah.
You might have some new features.
Yep.
Some.
You might gain analytics as an example,
Right.
And some other additional features that you're not, typically privy to on whatever version you are in commercial. But there will be some differences.
No, definitely. Cool. So yeah, I mean, we touched on state and local. I was just trying to think if there's anything else that we should kind of touch on today. I don't know, anything I didn't ask that I'm like typing the prompt. Is there anything you didn't tell me out of what you just told me now? Enter. I guess, anything I didn't ask.
I mean, from what you've seen of AGC, what's got you the most excited? What do you want inside of AGC yourself?
I mean, that's a great question. So I think, overall, I kind of touched on it a few times. It's creating a system of work for these entities that have been using a bunch of different bloated tools that are just not really helpful, cost a ton of money and storage or upkeep or no longer secure or no longer supported, right? And, Atlassian does a good job. Their costs are very fair and their products are strong, and I think getting these out there and having that ability for more entities to collaborate and utilize these things, I think we are going to see a shift in, not only just like the way they work, but like the actual how people feel about the work, right? And I think there's bless all the people in government, right? Because they've done so much. And sometimes you get a peek behind the hood and you're like, oh wow, all right, that's an old system, or that's like an old way of doing things. Like you guys are supporting thousands or 100,000 people, right? With these things, and I think giving them the right tool, I think will just kind of create this exponential ability for them to service a lot more. I think just be a lot more faster, and just in terms of like some of the automation, some of the things that can be set up. They don't have to take every single piece and move that forward. Now there's workflows that can be built out, there's understandings that can be built out, and people are doing approvals and doing the checks, but you don't have to do every single piece and kind of move that forward one by one. So I think that's where I'm excited, because I think there's obviously, although cloud's been around for a while, it's still a lot of financial services is a little hesitant. Healthcare is a little hesitant. You've got the government that's hesitant. I get it. And you want to keep people's data safe, and a data leak or something like that is devastating for anybody, and for the users as well as the entities that it happens to. So I think just overall, having that ability for more people to utilize those, the functions from cloud, and like you said, take some of that overhead off, and so I'm looking towards that. It's more just kind of that modernizing that system of work, creating and being able to really utilize the Atlassian ecosystem to its full potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you.
This is fun, and we definitely wanted to get some more information out. So thank you guys for joining us today. We look forward to doing some more of these if you guys are up for it. But just wanted to sign off real quick. Thanks again, and appreciate the time. I'm Cameron Starman.
I'm Arjuna Rivera.
I'm Cody Stevens.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Bye now.